how was the travel first off from Utah to Rhode Island for you guys?
I was good. Yeah, smooth day. Got here, got some film work done, and had a nice meal and had a great practice this morning. So we're ready to go.
Aside from today's practice, did you guys have a practice on Saturday too? I asked that with no Sunday involved. What's kind of been the prep for this game besides today?
Now we ended up not leaving San Diego until Saturday morning. We had a flight malfunction, so extra night in San Diego, and took Saturday off, and then flew out here yesterday, as we said, and had some film work when we got here.
What happened on that flight? Was everything safe? Everything? What kind of happened there? What was the situation? Do you know?
No, everything was fine. It was just we didn't even go to the airport. There was a something mechanical issue with the plane or whatever. So
Gotcha. And then last one more from me. 31 turnovers in those games in San Diego. What works when you broke down the film? What were kind of maybe some common threads in those turnovers, and any cause for concern moving forward? Do you think?
um, no concern moving forward. I mean, some of it were just most of them were unforced, self-inflicted turnovers, stuff we had kind of talked to the guys about leading into really the Ole Miss game. Um, where we kind of drove over, penetrated, and stuff like that. And but it was good at the same time. Learning how we could handle different pressure. I thought NC State we handled their full court pressure extremely well to the point where it was more of an advantage than a disadvantage, particularly in the second half, kind of when we got rolling. So I thought it was good, just to face some of these pressure teams and learn about different ways that we can handle it moving forward.
Can I jump in or
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
Jay.
Kevin, what were some of your other takeaways from the two games? Overall, were you pretty happy with the way you guys played in your first kind of tests against other Power Four teams?
Yeah, I mean, I thought NC State, the attention to detail for the game plan was probably the best we've had all year. So that was a real positive. Ole Miss, um, I thought offensively we had some good carryover game plan wise. Defensively, their speed and quickness kind of tested our pick and roll coverages in ways that hadn't been tested yet. So there was stuff we learned there. So yeah, I think all in all, the thing that I was the most happy with was just our response to coming up short in a game that was right there for the taking. And we didn't hang our heads, and we had a real business-like approach to the second game on a quick turnaround, and I think that says a lot about the character of our guys.
With Yegor and Dallin on the court at the same time, how did you feel like they kind of meshed, and will we see that going forward quite a bit?
Yeah, I think first game I didn't think they meshed that well. I mean, honestly, that was the first time we had started that group in any game, right? So it's that's tricky to do, against a good opponent. So you know, knew that was going to be a bit of an obstacle going into it, but I thought we battled through it, and I thought we really got going in the second half of the NC State game, just in terms of like just our flow offense looked really good with those two guys out there, and found a rhythm I think with the subbing patterns as well, and so we definitely were a work in progress. Given I like most teams are this time of year, but I think given the injuries and what that's done to the rotations has made it even more challenging. But I feel like learned a lot in terms of how those guys can operate together.
What are your impressions, Kevin, of Providence? They had a little bit of a tough stretch last week in their MTE. What stands out about the Friars?
Talented team. They got some dynamic guards who can really score it and shoot it and put pressure on you. So we'll have to be much better there than we were against Ole Miss. I mean, there's some stuff that we have been working on. Our coverages and being able to mix things up is something that is of interest that we hadn't really been able to do at a high level to this point. So they'll certainly try that part of our game plan. What they play with great spacing on offense. 5 out, a lot of different variations on and off the ball. So they're well coached on that end of the floor. And then, defensively, they have a clear identity as well, where they really try to be physical with you at the point of attack, and they've got some bigs that they use well to protect the rim. So, stuff that we've seen before, but clearly they have a plan and they're organized, and they have talent, and they'll be really hungry to get a win on their home court. So it'll be a tough challenge for us.
Any sense of conference pride in the whole Big 12, Big East battle? Anything there to try to help get the Big 12 a win for you guys?
I mean, shout out to Scott Drew. He actually texted me, not about just some conference pride after one of our MTE games, which I thought was a nice gesture by him. But yeah, I'm learning that side of college basketball, right, where you're learning to root for your own conference and the teams that you play against and stuff like that. So it is kind of a neat thing.
Wanted to also ask you, today the net rankings came out. How aware are you of how those work and maybe the significance they hold in college basketball? Like, how much have you dove into that whole process now that they're actually out and you guys are ranked?
Not as much as I probably should. Chris Burgess and Akash Sebastian kind of keep me in line with all things analytics. So they kind of download me on these types of things, but I'm learning along the way here of what all that stuff means and how it impacts ultimately where we hope to get to. You got any nuggets you want to share with me, Mitch? What do you got, man? Come on, don't just dangle it out there and then not hit me with
well,
anything.
yeah, I mean it has a big kind of hold on the the tournament and helps with seeding, it seems like, and almost seems like from my vantage point, it seems like the margin of victory helps in kind of determining the net a little bit. So I don't know, it seems like it plays a big role in seeding potentially.
Yeah, no, it does, and I am aware of like you said, the margin of victories and this and that, and based on who's in what league, and at the end of the day, man, go out and play well, and all that stuff takes care of itself. But clearly, we need to be mindful of the impact that it has. But I don't think it necessarily changes like our approach on a day-to-day basis.
Kevin, I'm just curious, when you got the job and you looked at the schedule, saw Providence College was on there, a cross-country trip, what was kind of your first blush reaction to that, or did you have one?
Just reminded me of in the NBA, when you take those long west to east coast trips, and just part of the nature of the business, nature of the beast. Didn't really put much stock into it. Just thought it'd be a good opportunity to go play a really good team in their home atmosphere, and have John Linehan return to his alma mater.
Oh, that's cool. And I had one philosophical question. Coach Rose used to, when a guy got his second foul in the first half, he just was on the bench. Coach Pope was a little more lenient, or I'm not sure what the word is. Do you have a philosophy on that? Or are you still kind of, is that one of those things where you're kind of still learning the college game and how it works?
No, my college coach did the same thing, and I couldn't stand it. So when I was a player, so no, it's situational. It's depends on who it is. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think the analytics would tell you that, at least in the NBA world, taking a guy out for fouls usually ends up hurting you more than it helps you. So that's my general lean. But I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. What coverage are you in? Is it on a big? Do you need to change your coverage, change a matchup, play zone, sub the guy out? Right. I don't think you can look at it through a blanket just viewpoint. I think you got to take all that context into your decision making, and then just kind of go with your gut feel based on what's going on with all those factors in play.
Did Coach Linehan get the scout for this one with his ties?
Yeah, he knows these guys well. Had one of their bigs as well when he was at St. Joe's. So, we kind of have an all hands on deck approach, even when we dial in on who scouted us.
Is the stories of
All right, guys, one more
sorry.
question.
Sorry, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
Coach, first road game of the season. Does that change anything that you guys do in game as far as like subbing or coaching with the new environment that you guys are going to face?
No, no, it doesn't. I don't really subscribe to like the road is that much different than home. I think the game is the same. You go out there and you put a game plan together and you got to execute it, whether you're at home, neutral site, or on the road. So that's really where all of our focus lies.
If I could get one more real quick, just to
Yeah,
follow up,
Mitch, yeah.
just to
You
follow up on Coach Linehan, are your players aware of like the how good of a defensive player he was known as? Like, you know, Kobe Bryant saying he was the best defender, and Big East. Like, are they aware of like his pedigree as a player, you think?
Probably not. I mean, I know they're aware of it when he plays mock defense on them and he steals the ball from all of them. So, I think they're aware to a certain degree, but he's you know, all jokes aside, I mean, what he did in the college world was unprecedented, and he's a real great resource for all of me and all of our players.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.